You're in the right place at the right time, stretching from the distant spaceports of Batu, Tatooine, and Cetos, and all the way to the bright center of the galaxy at Imperial Center, slamming into your holo projector like a supercharged nanoparticle of coaxium. This is the Star Wars Unfiltered podcast, and we are here to bring you your needed dose of Star Wars commentary. It is September 10th, 2023, and how was your week, Jason?
It was good. How was yours?
Pretty solid. We had more tropical weather. Did you get any of that down there?
Oh yeah, this morning it was raining. It's really weird.
Yeah. It happened again. Yesterday I was on another bike ride and I got drizzled on for about 5 minutes. It was pretty light. It was nothing to write home about. But that was on top of the week before when I got significantly drizzled on for about an hour off and on my bike ride. So
Yeah, I know you're bitching about that on Facebook, and that's how you know you're getting old is when you start talking about the weather all the time.
Oh yeah, I noticed this. It's an old person thing. Yeah. How's the weather? It is interesting though. I am more interested in the weather as I get older. I guess that's just an old person thing.
Yeah,
but
between that and the boomer posting about generational differences.
oh yeah,
we're on our way.
But I think also it's just kind of noticing patterns, and it's not just weather but other things in life. You start to notice patterns, and oh yeah, it wasn't like this a year ago, or it was like this 5 years ago. But yeah, the rain has been great, especially in the summer here, because we just don't normally get that. And
I know.
Yes, we
This
had
morning, I was really excited that maybe my daughter's softball game was going to get rained out because my wife's out of town, so she would have missed it. It's the opening game, but nope, it went off.
It went on,
It
yeah.
was muggy as hell.
Oh,
So,
dude, I know. So yeah, I've been doing these bike rides again, and about 90 minutes to 2 hours at a time, and it's just so muggy out there. It's just
it's miserable.
I mean, it's miserable, but at the same time, I don't know, if you're out there and you're exercising, there's a part of me that kind of likes it, but I don't know, a lot of sweating. Yeah, so uneventful week other than some bike riding and this and that. We've had a few episodes of Ahsoka now. The series is halfway through. So, but a little bit later, we're going to talk about the first half of Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went, of course, to Disneyland again just a little over a month ago, about 5-6 weeks ago. And so we'll talk about my thoughts on Galaxy's Edge, and you could talk about your thoughts on all the times you went.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just kick right off with that.
What did you think about Galaxy's Edge?
Overall, it was fun. It was really good. It was a little underwhelming in some ways. Not anything hugely significant, but I mean, it's just the reality that, you go there, you see the promotional things, it looks a certain way. It's like a McDonald's hamburger. It's not going to look like that. It's not going to be that way as it is in the promos.
Yeah.
You go there. Of course, I went with Nicole and her brother. It was her brother's birthday. So he wanted to go around that time. And it's like July, 29th or whatever. And it was just hot. It was busy. It was a Saturday. And sure enough, you got lots and lots of people walking around Galaxy's Edge in khaki shorts and baby strollers and this and that. And,
Fat people scooters.
Fat people scooters.
My least favorite part of Disneyland now is all the effing scooters that people rent.
I will be one of them in the next 10 years, most likely.
Your floating dice.
Yeah, I need
like
a little
Jabba the Hutt.
repulsor lift, Hut Caravel thing. Actually, that kind of ties into what I was talking about earlier with bike riding. So I knew Disneyland was coming up. I've been significantly fat these last 3 to 5 years. More so the last couple years after COVID. And I was like, okay, I got to get into decent shape for Disneyland because we're going to be walking all day. We're leaving at 5 fucking a.m. or whatever from Ventura County. And I just I got to at least get my stamina up, so that even with breaks, I can just walk around a lot. And luckily I did. I knew 6 weeks in advance. So I went on a lot of walks and this and that. And Disneyland still kicked my ass pretty well. I wore sandals. I thought, well,
You wore
am I gonna?
sandals to Disneyland?
I wore sandals. Now, I brought shoes just in case with insoles, which is comfortable. But it was so fucking hot that day. I was like, oh, dude, I don't know if I could have socks on like this day. It was just like really fucking hot, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just take enough breaks and everything, and I did okay. It wasn't that bad with sandals, but next time I'll take shoes, and I did okay at Disneyland. And then it was just like so we get to Galaxy's Edge. It was after we had breakfast. It was one of the first things we went to, and we also got the what is it the preferred. It's not a fast pass anymore. What do they call it when you upgrade to the thing where you can cut the lines?
Magic
shorter?
Genie.
Yeah, I guess it was the Magic Genie. Because we got our passes in advance, so we paid for that extra thing, and it chopped off some time on like Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
So we got on that. It wasn't that long. I think we only waited in line for that maybe I want to say 20 some minutes, 25 minutes, and so that was the first ride we went on there, and it was funny because near the beginning of the ride, I'm not going to go over every little detail. I want some people to experience this. If they can't go, watch it on YouTube. It's just better than having me verbally spoil every little thing. But
you got to go before they shut it down like they did the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you squeeze it in there. So there's the beginning scene where there's a hologram of Rey, like giving you your mission. Basically, you're going to infiltrate this First Order base or Star Destroyer or whatever. And she says, she's talking about we need you to get to General Leia Organa on, I believe the way she worded it was Bakura. And I was like, oh no, have I been pronouncing Bakura wrong for all these years? it really is Bakura. And I even, no one gave a shit, but I told Nicole, I'm like, I think I've been pronouncing this book name wrong for 28 years, Nicole. And she's just like, okay, whatever. And so I was like, oh man. So anyway, I'll get back to this point in a second here. But so we're going through the ride, and of course there's lots of First Order generals and commanders, whatever, and they're kind of nudging you along through the ride. And
I don't think they're generals. They're not generals.
No, I think they're janitors. I think they're janitors actually, because the facial hair these guys had going. I'm sorry, the First Order would not be up for some of the beards and matted, terrible mustaches that I saw on these poor people. Oh man, the long hair on women. They didn't even have it braided and up in their cap. I mean, the First Order is really recruiting the dregs.
This ain't your grandpa's empire, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So Tarkin would be very displeased, I think, if he saw this. But I had so much fun just giving them crap, you know. And I like that there is an element of role playing at Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
I tried to do it here and there when I could. 90% of the time, it was a very half-ass role play where if I was in one of the shops, it was usually not good. It was usually just like, go away. I'm trying to do my job here to sell a bunch of Disney shit. But there was some good ones. The guys on Rise of the Resistance were pretty good.
That's about as good as it's going to get.
That's as good as it's going to get. And I was at the back of the transport, so I was the last guy out when they were pushing everyone out. And I was telling the guy, I was like, really, look, I don't know anything. And he's like, we'll see about that, you know. And, but, I had so much fun. And so the ride goes on. There's no, what do they call it? They call it a trackless ride because it's almost like magnetic.
It uses sensors. And
that's what it is.
So there's no track. I think it uses sensors. I don't know the exact tech, but there's no track.
Yeah.
It's all free, you know, driving carts or whatever.
Right.
And that's incidentally why it breaks down all the time.
Yes.
If some debris or the floors get wet, like if it rains, because there's a portion of it that's like outdoors, like when you get off the ride. If it rains, that can mess up if the wheels get wet,
Yeah.
that shuts it down a lot of times. I think one time last year before, whenever the hell I was going, it shut down because it got struck by lightning. It was back when we were getting a
Oh,
bunch of storms
damn.
or whatever.
Batu is getting hit by an ion storm.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
Palpatine is doing his super force lightning like in Rise of
Right.
Skywalker.
Right. Well, the other funny thing was too that I was pointing out to my fellow resistance prisoners was the fact that there was railings there. I was like, wow, the First Order invested in railings in this particular facility. That is nice. So they care about some safety. They care more about safety than their facial hair,
Yes.
clearly. But anyway, the ride was great. Had a lot of fun. I like that it was a mix of sitting and seeing physical things and animatronics and video that was high quality, and you see clips of Poe and
Yeah.
Nien Nub and things like that. There, I was gonna say the part where you go under the AT-ATs
Yes.
was very cool. That was actually very impressive to look up and really get a sense of scale. Would have been a little extra if they were the gorilla walkers that are extra big, but that's probably not within their budget. So they're just like, let's make it a regular AT-AT.
Well, they could have just painted them black or something. I mean,
Something. Yeah. Who knows? But that was cool. And then I like that you raise up on the platform and you get a good head-on view of the head of the AT-AT as it prepares to fire at you. And I thought it was pretty impressive how there'd be sparks going off and the flashes of like red and green color to give you the impression of lasers, but you don't see the bolts per se because obviously they can't do that easily. But that was cool. And then so I think the ride was still probably just 5 to 7 minutes. It seemed pretty long for a Disney ride. Well, it was probably 10 minutes by the time you walk in and go through different portions. But yeah, it was good. And then so later, as a postscript to this, so like the next day, I'm watching the Galaxy's Edge promo that was on Disney Plus that got released in late 2019, which is like an hour-long special that was co-hosted with like different celebrities and stuff. Neil Patrick Harris and everything. And they show that clip of Rey saying, you need to make it to the planet Bakura and everything. And it even says on the subtitle, Bakura, to tie intrusive at Bakura. And I'm like, okay, so that's definitely the planet she's talking about. But then I go on Wikipedia, and there's this other planet that's Bacara, and they say it appears in Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
So whoever wrote the subtitle was wrong, and there was even a tweet from, I forget the guy's name in Story Group. It's Matt something. I want to say Matt Smith or whatever, but he often interacts with the fans, kind of like Pablo. And he tweeted that whoever did the subtitle for the special messed up. This is a new planet. It's not Bakura. It is a planet Bakara. And it just so happens, if you look on a galaxy map, it's not that far from Bakura, actually. So I don't know if this was intended to be the Bakura or
It's
they're
probably
like, no, wait,
no,
it's a new
the
pronunciation. Let's make a new planet.
Obviously, the guy who did the subtitles is a diehard Legends holdout.
He's a Kathy Tyers fan.
Yeah, he's like, F you guys, I'm putting in Bakura.
This is the way I've always said it.
And I could have told you it wasn't Bakura because Bakura is Bakura. That's how you pronounce it. That's how I pronounced it for the last, oh God, what has it been, 30
Well,
years
didn't
almost?
you used to say Bakura back in the day? Like
I
in
don't
the
think I ever
90s?
said Bakura.
Someone I
It wasn't me.
knew did. Maybe I just heard it on a YouTube video or something. I thought I knew someone back in the day that said it, but it's come up over the years. How do you say Bakura? I just thought that was funny. I hear that planet and I'm like, oh no! I'm like all having a meltdown on a fucking Star Wars ride at Disneyland. Anyway,
An existential crisis.
Yeah,
Your head canon is crumbling.
Rise of the Resistance was fun. Later, as I was checking as we were looking at the Disney app to see what we would go on next, it kept mentioning Rise of the Resistance is closed for the day. So it fucked up, just like you said. It
Mm-hmm.
something got dirty on the floor or whatever. And now I know why the Imperials are always polishing their floors, so their skimmers can go over them
That's
without
right.
fucking up.
That's right.
So, and then the next thing we did, I believe we milled around a little bit. I did go through the marketplace. We were looking for a loth cat, a stuffed loth cat, because we knew they had one at one point, probably when they first opened. And there was no loth cats,
Really?
and yeah, no, they didn't currently have them. Because I know there's things they rotate out. They'll rotate other
Well, let
creatures
me tell you,
in.
I guarantee they probably got them now that Ahsoka came out.
Oh yeah, it's very possible that they wanted to bring him back.
Did they have the Kowakian monkey lizards?
They did. I
They
saw
always
those on a
got those. Yeah.
few people's shoulders. I really we thinking about going back either this fall or winter. And when I go again, I might get myself a Kowakian monkey lizard
That
because they look
reminds
pretty
me
cool.
at what was it? Celebration 3, there was that guy that had that
Yep,
really nice Kowakian monkey
it
lizard
was.
puppet.
It was really good. He was a standout. A lot of people getting pictures with him and
Yeah, we
everything.
got our pictures with him.
That's true. Yeah, he was good, and you don't see too many Salacious Crumb things out there. So,
could you imagine doing a Salacious Crumb cosplay? Like not even having a puppet, you
oh,
just dress like a huge Kowakian monkey lizard.
you just walk up to people, don't even speak basic. You're just like, eh.
You just
That'd be
squawk at
great.
him.
You need that kind of like belly though, the skinny
Oh,
legs
I
and the
got it.
belly that
I
kind of
got
hangs.
it, dude.
I
I'm
got the belly. I don't have those legs
I
though. It's like little
yeah.
sticks. You need some big old like claw like grappler fingers
Yeah,
and
I got arthritis and
everything.
skinny legs and a big fat belly. I'm right there.
We're well on our way to a Salacious Crumb
Just give me
cosplay.
20 years and I'll be perfect Salacious Crumb.
Right. So I did see those. Those look really cool. I regret that we did not visit the lightsaber place. I mean, you kind of have to get a lightsaber if you're going in to see the whole
Um,
thing, I
I
guess. But
believe so, and I think it's by appointment or something.
yeah,
It's
I think it is
because
from what I can
it's
see.
kind of like the wand thing at Harry Potter Land at
Harry Pothead.
Universal. Although that's more like it's kind of like an experience. You go through it. You don't necessarily have to buy a wand
Yeah.
unless the wand chooses you. If you're that lucky
Get the
person.
fuck out of here, Harry Potter.
But
Yeah.
but with the lightsaber thing, it's like a whole thing because you're like building it and stuff. So
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I've seen some clips of that in different promo things and this and that, so I have an idea of what it is. I'll probably see more of those things on future visits. We didn't do the blue milk stand.
oh,
Um,
blue milk's so good. I mean, it's just like a
Ye
coconut drink, but it's really
yeah,
good.
I didn't get a chance to have it with the way the food and the other drinks we had, but so there was a couple buildings I missed. So we went through the marketplace. Oh, I was gonna say about the loth cat thing. So I asked the clerk, I was like, "Do you guys have any loth cats?" And she's like, "No, not right now." And I said, "Oh, they're in another system, aren't they?" And she's like, "You might have some luck." And I said, maybe the Target system. And she's like, yeah, no, yeah, you could try that. And I was like, well, I'll look on the Holonet, like meaning eBay,
Uh huh.
basically. And she was so just like she didn't give a shit about
It's
my
just
role
like, look,
playing.
you asshole, we don't have any of your stuffed cats. Get out of here. You
Get
want
the
a
fuck out of
wampa?
here.
Get the
I
fuck out of
know.
my
Get the
face.
fuck. So I did check out Doc Ondar's antiquities place. That was pretty cool. Lots of little Easter eggs on the walls, and you see the Tauntaun head, and
Mm-hmm.
Ezra's one of Ezra's Biker Scout helmets is, I guess, one of the ones on the wall that he collected on Lothal.
Yeah.
And then I like the animatronic too of Doc Ondar. It looked pretty good, and
Yeah.
I like, obviously it's behind this cage kind of thing, so no one can come up and throw things at him
Yeah.
or like draw on his face or whatever. I like how Disney like very like they know what they're doing. They put these things
They
that
have
are
a lot
nice
of
behind.
experience.
Yes, from different assholes. And then I like seeing the X-wing that was parked outside, and you'd see, kind of steam coming off of it, and then the A-wing. That
Mm-hmm.
was all cool. So we got a reservation at the cantina,
Mm-hmm.
and this was around noon. So we were kind of having like a, actually, it was probably before that. It's probably like a brunch, lunch kind of thing. And we rolled up 10 minutes maybe before our reservation, so we didn't have to wait outside very long. We went in, and of course it was busy, as I knew it would be. And we shared kind of a longish table with some other people, as you tend to do at a
Mm-hmm.
place like that. We had our little corner, and this is a place I really wanted to role play because I knew they were probably going to do it a little bit more here than say where they're selling stuffed fucking, loath cats and things like that.
Right.
And
Or
so the
or not
guy,
selling stuffed loaf cats,
yes,
as it
yes.
were.
So the guy, he's taking our order, and he walks up and he has his little pad. So he's like writing down, and we had already seen. I think there was a menu they place out beforehand, so you know what you want to order when he comes. And I knew I wanted to role play this particular thing. I'd been thinking about this like years in advance. I was like, I know what I want to say, and it's just funny how anticlimactic it was because like, okay, so in the Dark Forces audio dramas and graphic novels, there's this one drink, and this goes back to like West End Games. I think they had this. There's a
Uh-huh.
drink called Norvinian Grog, and it's Kyle Katarn's favorite drink. So
Right.
Kyle Katarn goes to a bar and he's like, "Give me some Norvinian Grog," and like, so I was like, I just was casually asking him, and I knew it wasn't on the menu, but I said, "Do you guys have any Norvinian Grog?" And he doesn't even look at me, and he's just like, "No." That was it. He didn't even look up at me or anything. He's looking at his pad, ready to write down the real thing that is on the menu. He's just like, no, that was it. That was the extent of my Norvania Grog roleplay that I had been rehearsing in my head for years.
You're
However,
you're you're really you're really like putting a lot of faith in a zoomer
yeah.
slash young millennial to understand your 90s Star Wars reference
Actually,
from
this
Legends.
guy, the some of the bartender guys were a little older. This guy looked like he was about 50. So they did get more of a appropriately
Okay.
aged
Okay. Okay.
worker in
Um,
this case.
you're putting a lot of faith in a old Gen X
Crusted.
slash boomer uh, understanding your 90s Star Wars
Oh, I
reference.
know. I know. I'm always hoping like I'm gonna get the guy that's a fan like me and not just some, worker, but no, worker drone. No, it's never the case. But nevertheless, I did order the taurine tea, which I was happy to see on the menu because that's a deep cut going back to the Stell Chronicles novella that came with TIE Fighter. That was the first reference of taurine tea. So even though it had been used more recently in the Clone Wars movie
Yeah.
and some other things, I appreciated that I had to get it for that reason. It's a TIE Fighter reference.
Yeah.
So and it was really, really tasty. I mean, that's the thing about the drinks in that place. They're pricey, but wow, they are good. So what do you remember what you got when you went?
I didn't order anything there. It's way too expensive. I went there once when the only time I went to the cantina was when we went and they had that when it first opened and that you had to get like a wristband and you could be in there for like
Hmm.
I think you could be in there for 3 hours, 2 hours, something like
Yeah.
that, and there was like overlaps with other groups, and so and you at the time you still had to get a reservation. So like went in there,
Yeah.
looked around, I was like, this is neat, and then left. Didn't order anything
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it like oh my god, yeah, it's incredibly expensive for what you get.
It is. It is. And then we got that kind of, there's like a variety plate of snacks. It's like different nuts and chips, and
Mm-hmm.
there's like banana chips that they call something else, and it's different things. I can't remember what that was, but
They
it was
they
pretty
give you a
good.
Lunchable.
Lunchable. And I liked that Rex was there as a DJ,
Mm-hmm.
reappropriated now as a DJ. That was fun. That was cool. I got some pictures and video around the bar.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were there not that long, maybe 35, 40 minutes, and
Yeah.
then we scooted along. But I believe after that, we went to the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride.
Yeah.
and we breezed in on that. The line scooted pretty quickly.
Yes, the line moves really fast in that.
Yeah, yeah. I would have liked to have spent more time in the Falcons Lounge area. I
Mm-hmm.
guess you kind of can. You can kind of just you can meander there and let other people go ahead if you want to.
Not really, because they color code the groups,
Oh, do
and
they?
yeah, so I don't think they did it once COVID. I think you used to get like a thing that you hold, and it was a certain color, and then
Okay.
you would turn it in, and then when COVID happened, they're like, okay, well, we're not going to hand people things that
Yeah.
everybody's going to
Yeah.
touch, so
Right.
then they just tell you your color, and then you just have
Right.
to
Right.
remember. But yeah, they your group has a color, and you got to go. You can't
Yeah.
hang out. But what'd you think of the ride? What'd you think of the line?
The line was fun. I like seeing
Uh
Hondo.
huh.
I like that Jim Cummings voiced him again, and the animatronic was actually very good.
Yeah.
I was pretty impressed. I mean, the animatronics are getting incrementally better over the years, and I like the story, and I like the video you see of Hondo before you get in the ride. And I don't know if I guess they just put makeup on a guy.
I
I don't
don't.
think it was CG. I don't know. I need to look
I
at it
don't know. I
again,
mean,
but
it's the video has an effect on it, so
it looks
it
like
would
an
be
old CRT kind
yeah,
of kind of thing.
it would be very it would be very forgiving if it was either CGI or like CGI makeup on a person or
Hmm.
makeup on a person. It's hard to tell which it
It is hard
is.
to tell, and it's a little monitor you're looking at too. So
Yeah.
it's yeah. I liked it though. I liked the story. I liked the sarcasm of Hondo and all the humor. I mean, it just tied right into his character perfectly.
Yeah.
And the ride was fun. I was a gunner on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole and her brother were piloting. She was the co-pilot. You can imagine how well that went.
Yeah.
Um, and then her nephew was another gunner,
Mm-hmm.
and of course he's just tap 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 tap, just willy nilly the whole time, just
Yeah.
shooting everything. I was at least taking shots when appropriate, but we did get one coaxium container
That's good.
salvaged.
That's good.
So
It's hard to get both. The pilots have to be on point with um uh
because one's
the
going up and down, one's going left and right, right?
yeah, and then
I think that's the way they do
the
it.
gunners usually do like the easy mode where you just hit the button, but
Hmm.
there's also like the advanced mode where you have to, I think there's 3 buttons, and it's either you're shooting
Right.
up, middle, or down,
Yes.
and you have to
I
hit
did notice I had buttons that were not activated,
yeah,
but they were switchable
you would
or
have to
punchable, I should say.
you would have to activate the advanced mode.
It was a lot of fun though, and it was cool seeing Corellia again,
Mhm.
as we have in recent stuff. I mean, it's in Ahsoka too, which we'll talk about, but Corellia is kind of it's been popping up more recently, and
Yeah.
I guess now that Solo is kind of done and dusted as of 5 years ago, it's like they can, show it here and there.
Yeah,
And
we're inching closer and closer to Bel Iblis
I
appearing
know,
in Star Wars.
right? The senator. But yeah, the ride was fun. I like that it was. It is more of a video game, or like almost like a. I don't want to say virtual reality, but it's a. What do they call
Interactive
it?
ride.
It's along those lines, and it uses. What was the engine it's running in? Is it?
Unreal,
Is
I
it?
think.
It's Unreal. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
that's it. Yeah, that's it. I was reading about it not that long ago. Yeah, it's impressive. It's fun. It's classic Star Wars. Um,
It's
yeah,
surprising to me. I've been on the ride a lot.
yeah.
And even the last time I went to Disneyland, because I knew it was the last time for a long time, by myself, I just went on it like 7 or 8 times in a row because
Yeah,
I just went on the
yeah,
single rider line because you just basically
yeah.
walk on if you do single rider.
Just over and over.
And it's amazing how few people want the responsibility of piloting. It's probably the most fun thing to do,
Yeah,
but like hardly anybody wants to do it. I think because they're just nervous, and it is
yeah,
really
yeah,
difficult. Like
yeah.
it's and if you don't have 2 pilots, I've been on that thing by myself before.
Hmm.
Like at the end of the night, and they're just like, oh,
Yeah,
just do it. And
yeah.
there is no like autopilot for half of it or anything. You'll just
Oh
you'll
man.
just run into the walls and stuff, or
Just
you gotta
over and
gotta try
over.
and reach over and do the other
Yeah.
controls. But
Well,
um,
it's funny because it really gives you context for the scene where Rey is flying the Falcon by herself on off of Jakku, and she's reaching over to flip the deflector shield,
yeah,
controls as she's trying to fly.
yeah, you need
So,
it. You really do need a co-pilot for some of
right,
this stuff.
right.
Did
But
you
yeah,
you only went on it once?
just went on it once,
Yeah. So
sadly.
they have the Chewy mode. I think I told you and Jess about it. Where
I think you did mention it. What is that? Is that easy versus or is that hard
no,
mode?
instead of Hondo talking to you the whole time because Hondo's like telling you
Uh,
stuff, it's Chewy
oh.
just yelling at you. He's just
And
screaming.
how do you choose that, or how do you
Um,
get it? Is it just timing?
you can activate it yourself, but it's easier if you just ask the person, the attendant or whatever, to
Okay.
help you do it. You have to like,
This is
bef-
like the secret menu in In-N-Out.
yeah, pretty
Or
much,
something.
pretty much. Before you buckle up, I can't remember exactly how you do it, but before you buckle up, you have to like, everybody has to like, the pilots have to hit certain buttons,
Oh,
like,
cool.
and then it activates it. The attendant just knows how to do it, but
Right, they just do it if
and
you
then the
ask.
only difference through the whole ride is just no Hondo. It's just Chewie screaming at you the whole time.
That's great. That's classic Star Wars
Yeah.
right there. They
So
can't get more.
if
Oh,
the
that is
next time
good.
you go,
Oh
definitely
yeah.
do Chewie mode
Oh yeah.
and anybody going on it. Do
Yeah,
Chewie mode
actually,
or Wookiee mode.
that's
I don't
the
remember what they call it. I think it's Chewie
Wookiee
mode.
Berserker mode. Um, yeah, when I go again, I'll be spending more time at Galaxy's Edge, soaking in more. Because that was the other thing. I had my app with the little cargo scan thing
Hmm.
through that. I had that ready to go, and literally, I'd be standing at a thing and scanning it, and then Nicole's nephew was like, "Come on, guys, let's go," and he's
Yeah.
like a mile away, and it's like, can I just stand here for like 30 seconds and
No,
scan a fucking cargo thing?
that's something you have to do deliberately. Like you have to, I haven't done it myself because I was always with, family and stuff.
It's
So
hard when you're with people.
yeah, non-Star
And
Wars
it's
fan people,
yeah,
non-Star Wars fans.
and also the things to scan. I mean, there is some things in the lines, but a lot of the things are not in a line. They're
Hmm.
just little things you walk up to around Galaxy's Edge, and at like the droid depot and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So it's just rough. You got to like you said, you got to take the time to do it. And it was hot. We all wanted to move along. It was like,
Mhm.
all right, guess I ain't doing this. And but yeah, that's when I'm just like, I'm coming here again without children.
Did you see
Yeah.
Did you see any characters?
I saw Bargain Basement Chewy across the way. He
Mhm.
was kind of at a distance from us. I wanted to go up to him and check him out, but it was right before we were going into the cantina. So I missed out, and I did see Boba Fett in his
Oh.
armor. Yeah, because they had Boba in recent months. Or
Yeah, I
whatever.
haven't. Last
Yeah.
time I went there, they didn't have Boba Fett or Mando or anybody. They would
Yeah.
only have
Yeah.
Rey and Chewie, and then Kylo and stuff. Now was Boba Fett like old Boba
He was
Fett,
in
or
his
was he
book of Boba Fett where he had the kilt
and the
kind of
belly?
thing.
Did he have the belly?
He had the
He
belly.
was Boba Fett.
There was a group, yeah, Boba Fett. There was a group of people walking with him. Like he was going from one spot to another. It was like a couple parents and like 3 or 4 kids trailing him.
Mhm.
And it's almost like he was trying to like talk to them as he moved to another spot.
Yeah,
So they were probably just kind of like, hounding him or whatever. And
yeah.
again, I wanted to be like, oh, I was like, hey guys, look, check it out, Boba. And I could have just s- gone right over there, but again, no, let's keep going. We got to check this out. It's like, okay, all right, sure.
Huge.
So I didn't
That
get
is
to interact as much.
that is a
with
huge
the-
missed opportunity. You could have seen if he would respond to Barv. If you called him
I
a
know,
Barv.
I know. Chances are, we know what those chances are, but yeah.
Hey,
and
those
then
books
there
got
was-
those books got a re-release recently. So
That's true, in hardcover
Yeah.
as a trilogy,
Uh-huh.
Barnes and Noble exclusive.
of all the
if
books,
I remember, of
of
all the books.
that's what they
Of all the
chose to republish.
But there's a part of me that like wants to like respectfully bow to Barnes and Noble for doing that, for just going
Listen,
out of left field.
Kudar Mubat is one of the best characters
He is
in
badass.
Legends.
He is
Like,
super badass,
and balance
actually.
sheet, the whole thing.
Yep.
That
Yep.
whole thing going on with that creature is
The
awesome.
whole web
Yeah.
of his living ship that he lives in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. I've always liked those books. There was a couple stormtroopers that briefly walked by, and again, I was like, yes, I'm looking forward to this. And then it was like, it was right around the time we were going into the cantina. It was like
Yeah.
right. I saw Chewie, I saw them. It was like it just the opportunity was just not there. And yeah, I was see that's the role playing right there. They want you to role play with these characters, and that's what I was primed for. So it just didn't happen. But
Yeah.
next time. Um, yeah, I'm trying to remember other details. That is the basic summation of my Galaxy's Edge experience.
Yeah. I'd say my thoughts on it is just the land of missed opportunities. I feel like
Planet of missed opportunities.
I think from what I've read, they were going to do Tatooine, but
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy pushed for it to be sort of agnostic or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
not specific to any existing Star Wars
I
planet
think,
or whatever. And I
yeah,
think that was a mistake.
I don't think so, in my opinion,
You're wrong.
because they mentioned that in that Disney Plus special. There was the whole thing where they talked about when they're brainstorming what to have, and they even talked about Coruscant as another idea. And I think at the end, I see that they wanted to give a quintessential Star Wars experience, and obviously Tatooine would have been really near the top because you got the cantina, and you'd have like say a docking bay, the Falcon. It's those things are ready to go, and you need the Falcon. That's another key thing. So I could see why they'd want to do Tatooine. The problem is it wouldn't be the immersive Tatooine that Tatooine would deserve. They'd have to cart in so much fucking sand and like I
Well,
mean you could fake it. You could fake it and have that just plastic ground that's not really sand but like
yeah.
looks sandy. It just but the thing is I think they really wanted to have a new planet, just like these other marketing things. They wanted their new thing to market so they could slip it into other stuff. And I will give them credit that it is cool that they gave details to authors beforehand, like Timothy Zahn. He slipped it into Thrawn Alliances, and then it's been in some other books here and there that are not coming to mind right now. But obviously, Black Spire Outpost itself got mentioned in Solo a good year before we even knew what that was referencing. So
Yeah.
that's something.
They
I think it
could
was the
have.
right idea.
Yeah, they could have done it. It's. I mean,
It could have been done.
as it is, if they remove the trees from like the spot where
Yeah.
the two ships are and Rise of the Resistance,
Mm-hmm.
you do that, and it's basically Tatooine. You just make it a
Well,
little bit lighter, like lighter
that's
paint on everything, because
it's
they
very true.
they wanted to hit those notes anyway, like because they have the
Yes.
cantina, but it's not the Mos Eisley
That's
cantina.
that's what I was gonna say. They wanted to clearly give you the feeling of a stereotypical Star Wars planet that feels like Tatooine.
Or
So
or
cantina, docking bay.
honestly, what they probably did was they had all this concept stuff for Tatooine, and then they changed gears and just made it another system, and that's why it's like basically Tatooine, but not Tatooine.
Right. Could
So
be.
that's
And
that's
they
really
might
my only problem with it, is that I wish it was something from the existing
right, right.
movies. It's not even anything from the effing sequels. That's the other problem. Like, it's not even that. Which I guess then you could, then it's like, well, they really were trying to do something that's separate from anything that was already in existing media.
That's the thing. If you watch the special, they really go into the whole immersion thing. So they were like, well, we want to make a place that gives visitors the feeling like they're actually in this place. So they were like, well, we need a first order side, we need a first order ship
I
so
don't know.
that those guys are walking around because you can't do an Imperial base
Yeah,
on
but
Tatooine
this
as
is
easily.
this
You
is the
could,
problem.
but
This is the problem. They say that, and this is the problem that the Halcyon had, the Star Cruiser thing, because that was a whole
mhm.
experience too. the immersion breaks the instant you look around yourself and you see dudes in khaki shorts and t-shirts and fat
I
people on
know.
scooters and
But
all
if you
these
just raise
effed
your
up
camera
people.
slightly above the dregs of Orange County, you just kind of photograph the buildings in the sky, you can actually crop all that shit out.
Yeah, no,
So
I know, but
I did a good job of avoiding that in my photos that I took.
it's just like they um well, look, hey, if you go to Universal Studios and you go to Harry Potter Land or whatever, it's
Yeah,
the I don't remember the name of the town or whatever, but it's like snowy and stuff. Like
right.
they did it there. They could do
Yeah.
Tatooine in SoCal. They did freaking the Harry Potter in SoCal.
Well, okay, so in the visitor's guide, or sorry, the traveler's guide to Batu, which I bought right before I went, and I read half of it. I didn't get all the way through. A lot of it I read on the way down, and I like that they reference like Southern California weather in the book. I like that Batu just kind of represents California or Florida. So
Yeah.
it's like you might get, some light rains here and there, but otherwise mostly sunny skies on Batu. And I like that they just kept their foot in the door on the weather in that regard. Cuz like that's the other thing. You have Tatooine, it's like raining on Tatooine. Like what the hell planet am I on here? That'd be hard to pull off, and it'd be like
Yeah.
Dune. It'd be like the rain at the end of Dune,
Well,
or
they just need to have it changed to Camino. It's just
they just pull a switch and everything flips over
yeah,
like
yeah,
a gambling thing.
yeah,
Just like this, like it mows, like all the
yeah,
gambling shit just
exactly.
disappears. It's Camino. His
Exactly.
helmets just come down
Everybody
over everybody.
everybody ducks out and comes back out in cameo and costumes and stuff.
Oh, the X-wing goes under and Slave One raises up on the platform.
All you see is Jango Fett's. Just
Yeah,
every
just
there's
everywhere.
that's the only characters you interact with is
Oh
Jango Fett's.
man. It'd be really hard to pull off the water underneath the platforms. I'd have to use some screens or
Well, depend
something.
if it's an El Nino year, that's easy to pull off.
A real flood just comes through. I guess
Uh,
Tropical Storm Hillary is hitting.
yeah.
So that's my
Anyway,
thoughts
yeah.
on Galaxy's Edge. I think that's basically it. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And oh, my one other regret is, they sell the little bottles of Coca-Cola in the spherical
Yeah, and
containers that
yeah.
almost look like thermal detonators,
Yes.
basically. Why? And again, I talked about this with Billy on Facebook in a comment, but they had the perfect opportunity to call the drink Fizzy Glug, which is
Mhm.
what it was always called in West End games and stuff.
Mhm.
All they didn't need to say like that's the brand name, but just call it a Fizzy Glug, dispensary or whatever. And it's like they didn't. They just said it's Coke. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they couldn't. Maybe Coke, the
They're
company, made them refer to
yeah,
it as soda.
that's it's probably has to do with marketing and the fact that it's all
Ah,
Coke in
it's
Disneyland.
just
So,
it's just so funny because that again, if I refer to it as Fizzy Glug, that's my head canon while I'm there. But to me, that's just again one of those old nuggets from West End games that I remembered constantly seeing references to in the even the Bantam books. I remember Travag in Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina. There's a line where he says, "Balu pours himself a fizzy," and I'm just like, "Oh, come on, you had it right there." But oh well, just
yeah.
one of those things. But I had fun. Galaxy's Edge was it's a 1.5 thumbs up. I'll say, but it's solid. Don't expect it to change your world or anything, but if you're going there for Disneyland anyway, and you're a big Star Wars fan, you're gonna have a blast,
Yep.
guaranteed.
And go before they shut it down, just like the
God
Star
forbid.
Cruiser.
Yes. So we got the first half of Ahsoka. Episodes 1 through 4 are now out. We're just a couple days away from episode 5. What do you think of the series so far, Jason?
It's good. I know that not everybody has liked it. I guess that's the sense that I've gotten. That it's kind
Wait,
of
not everybody is liking a new Star Wars live
I
action
know,
series
right?
on Disney
I
Plus?
I feel like a lot of people sort of lump it into on the same level as Mando season 3, which
Mm-hmm.
was I thought season 3 was fine,
I
Um,
thought it was great. It was my favorite season.
so I
We
mean,
talked about
I
that
think
last time.
I think so far Ahsoka is great. I think Ahsoka is, especially with the last episode, it is the for me the high watermark for at least the Disney Plus stuff. Mando is
It's
great,
funny.
but
Yeah,
this is my cup of tea. So
it's funny you say that because you recall last episode my glowing description of Andor and what I
yes,
said.
yes,
And so I kind of feel like it's funny that you're
this
probably
is
not on that level
this is
with this,
my
but
Andor. This is
this is
my
your
Andor.
Andor. Um, and okay, so for me, Ahsoka, I feel like it's building up. It's getting better and better as it goes on, and this was because they started with the first two episodes as the premiere, as they sometimes do. Um, I felt it immediately after the first episode. That's when it got really good,
Yeah,
but it's really ramping up now. And let's not get ahead of ourselves, but let's go back to the first episode. And this is the one where I had a little bit of issue because I know they have to set the stage. They have to reintroduce these characters for some people. They have to introduce them for a lot of people.
hmm
They have to not necessarily telegraph events in Rebels, but they have to kind of show you the relationships between who these people are, as far as Sabine and who is Ezra. Why is Ezra? Why should I care about him? And things like that. So it was a little slow, and that's just I understand that's the nature of the beast, though. With anything, you
yeah,
always
and
gotta
that's
start a
why
little
they
slow,
released 2 episodes
right?
for the premiere.
Exactly. But having said that, it was a bit slow. That first one, it was just a little too, and I don't know. Some of the I mentioned this off of recording, but some of the cinematography is a little. It's a little bit like Obi-Wan Kenobi, where it's just kind of bland blocking shots that are very simple and everything. And a
Yeah,
lot of times that's whatever. It's no big deal. It's just part of this is that Andor has spoiled us because they kind of went out of their way to make everything a good shot, no matter how mundane it might have been.
yeah,
So it's just like we're kind of spoiled. But I'm still a little bit. Part of me likes Rosario as Ahsoka, but she's so overly chill all the time, other than when she's fighting, that sometimes that low key acting, I start to get a little antsy on it. It's like come on, like, but it's whatever. That's the character. It's older Ahsoka.
yeah,
She's more
exactly.
reserved, so I don't. It's not the end of the world. It's just there's these little things like that are kind of nagging at me, but it's not. Again, it's whatever. It's
It's the
just
difference between A New Hope Luke and
yeah.
Return of the Jedi Luke. You know,
Oh yeah, exactly. It's like corny, eager Mark Hamill versus reserved, badass Mark Hamill in
yeah,
Return of the Jedi.
yeah,
You're right. That's a good analogy. So, but yeah. I mean, you and I, we've been theorizing for months, if not years now, about if they would kind of do a semi reboot of the Thrawn trilogy, and I just think it's funny that like Thrawn still hasn't showed up. It's like
yeah. Well,
again, I
that's
posted that meme of Gideon. Like, where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? Is he ready to join the Shadow Council?
well, and that's why I mentioned that this is like a monkey paw version of the Thrawn trilogy, where it's
It
like,
is
yes, I wish they would do the Thrawn trilogy, and it's like, oh, we got it, but
without Thrawn.
without without Thrawn, without Luke, Leia, and Han, without Mara Jade,
uh,
Talon Card,
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, but I think that's clearly changing from Episode 5 onward. I think you said Dave Filoni's directing this next one, and
Yes,
it,
episode
it'll,
5. So my theory, well, I mean, yeah, my theory is that that's when Thrawn will be introduced, I guess.
I
So
think that's clearly the case, even if you just look at that fact that Filoni's directing, because it tends to be a big event like
well,
that.
look,
They get like
they
the
went to the other galaxy. They made the
yeah,
jump. So apparently they're just gonna go, and Thrawn's gonna be waiting there, like ready to go. I mean,
yeah, I know, right?
obviously we got 4 more episodes, so it'll be interesting to see like the steps that the next steps in finding Thrawn and Ezra and all that stuff.
Right.
So
Also, as
because
far as
I
I'm
still think
aware,
even though because Filoni's directing the next episode, that I think that Thrawn will show up. I half joked. I'm not completely joking when I say that I would not be surprised if Thrawn shows up in like the last 5 or 10 minutes of the series.
Right.
So, because he won't be just sitting there waiting for them. They're going to have to still find him in that galaxy. So,
Yeah, man, they are just edging us so bad. It's just like, oh
so
my god,
so good.
or so good. Yeah, depending on your point of view. Um, yeah, it's interesting how they're really. Oh, what I was gonna say, all the promos that I've seen, because the Star Wars YouTube channel has just been cranking out promos before Ahsoka and even between episodes. They got these little, sometimes 30-second promos, and just about all the trailers and promos I've seen have shown stuff up to now. There's been nothing I've seen in them that's from another episode I haven't seen yet. So that
Nothing
means the
obviously
second,
other than seeing
yeah,
Thrawn, like a
other than that one
yeah,
shot of Thrawn, like in the Eye of Sion bridge.
yeah.
I think that's the one thing. And there's been dialogue from a certain person that's played over these promos that it's like, oh, and then there he is at the end of this most recent one. By the way, spoiler alert for people that didn't know, but I mean, it's whatever.
Yeah. By the way,
no one gives a shit.
there's gonna
By
be
the way,
spoilers.
Spoilers. Well, potential spoilers for future episodes, but because okay, they use Anakin's voice in some of these promos. He has not said what we heard him say in these promos yet. But that could be flashbacks to the Clone Wars, even him training with Ahsoka.
Listen. If it's in Wikipedia right now, it's not a spoiler.
It's not a spoiler. Just don't go to Wikipedia if you haven't seen it yet. That's just all I'm saying. But that's just a good rule of thumb. Don't go on social media if you haven't seen it. Just see it.
But don't listen to this if you haven't seen it. We're talking about stuff
no.
that's happening. So
exactly. But yeah, no, that's my excitement though, is that these episodes that are coming, it's going to be fresh. And it's all built up and ramped up, and the story is going. And I saw a lot of criticism similar to my own, where it was like it's slow and quote unquote boring. I didn't say that, but people are thinking that based on the early episodes. And it's like, dude, The Mandalorian was slow also at first.
oh, super slow.
It was mega slow. You're just walking around town, like just looking at things, and it was really slow, but it was exciting because it was new at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, there's a lot of us that are jaded now because we have all these series under our belts. And it's like, you just have to be mindful that this is the beginning of a series. They have to set the stage. So just be patient. And
what hopefully Disney has learned is that the old adage of you can't please everybody, right? It's important to remember that, especially when you're creating art, when you're creating a story or whatever. You got to go at your own pace and stuff. But also, you can't please people that don't care or people that don't like it anyway.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people that shit on Disney Star Wars stuff is, I mean, there's people that, well, I'm one of them. I don't typically like the stuff they put out because they're trying to cater to a demographic that doesn't necessarily really care about Star Wars.
Exactly.
They're trying to like gain new audience, and it's like, why don't you just cater to the people that already care? Like, and that's what they're doing with this series, and they did with like Mando and stuff. It's like they're catering to people that cared about the Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime they reference, I mean, they're making a Thrawn, series dealing with Thrawn, catering to Legends fans,
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah.
So if it's slow, that's fine. That's let Filoni go at his pace or whatever.
I actually just today, I don't often see anybody criticize Filoni hardly at all. It's extremely rare because most people are very happy.
You got to go on the forums I go to.
Well, yeah, saltier than crate. Yeah, of course. But no, someone commented, they called him Dave Fail Oni today.
Filoni.
And I was like, wow, Jesus Christ. Like, did Dave Filoni take a dump in your mouth or something? Like it's not that bad. Good lord. But again, these are people that it's the same kind of people that just crap on everything. They don't like anything Disney
Yes.
Star Wars. But yet they're either pirating or using Disney Plus as they say this. So it's just did you not get the memo on the 7th series you disliked? Like there's enough out there now. It's like why are you
Well,
still watching this?
a lot of times, it's not even people that don't like Disney Star Wars. It's just people that don't like Star Wars, or people that just don't like anything. It is just
Yes.
internet trolls a lot of time. People that just want to
It
shit on
is,
stuff to shit on
and
stuff.
I think there's another element of people. They're like a beaten housewife that just keeps going back to the husband who's in jail, and like, I swear to God, he loves me, and then he
Right.
gets out of jail and beats the shit out of her again, and then her teeth are missing and she's got a black eye, and I'm like, no, no, I swear, the next series that comes out, I'm gonna love it, I swear, and it just keeps happening over and over and over. It's a cycle of abuse, and it's like, stop hurting yourself, walk away.
Even
So,
well, even Kenobi had some really bright points.
oh no, it did.
It
It
just
did.
had some really low points too.
It's my least favorite series. I even like Book of Boba Fett more than
Oh
Kenobi.
yeah, for sure.
And both of those are very, very flawed, and yet both of them have a ton of great stuff. Look, you and I both love The Phantom Menace, a lot of it. We don't it's not our favorite Star Wars movie, but we love certain things in that it did better than other Star Wars movies. So
All
there's
right,
always high
wait. We don't
points.
need to talk about this. Let's just talk about
Let's talk
Ahsoka.
about Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So anyway, the first couple episodes, or the first main episode to me, was a bit slow. When the second one started, it was a lot more interesting when they went to Corellia. Um, Again, I just mentioned with the Galaxy's Edge thing, we're seeing more of Corellia. I loved that we saw this shipyard kind of area, and that they were loading that hyperdrive core from a super star destroyer. They said
They're so dumb though. The New Republic in Disney Star Wars compared to
they
the old
are,
EU,
they are.
because they're dismantling Star Destroyers. It's like just use them.
Just use them. I know.
Because
I
the
mean,
thing is,
well,
it's really cool seeing Home One, right?
yes, yeah, yeah.
But the Mon Call cruisers aren't warships. They're luxury liners that are
Exploration luxury liners.
yeah,
basically.
they're repurposed.
Yeah,
They're not warships.
yeah.
Why would you dismantle Star Destroyers?
It doesn't really make sense, but you can see that they're making those new warships. Some of them, they're mixed in with the fleet around Home One.
Yeah, I know, and they're
kind of like that, and
it's fine. I get it. Like the Star Destroyers are a symbol of the Empire and stuff. They could paint them,
right.
or soften them somehow, like they're modified Star
Put a
Destroyers
big
or something,
red phoenix on the bottom of it,
or like a New
like the
Republic
rebel
symbol or
symbol.
something,
Yeah,
But
as it terrorizes new planets.
of course they have to get to
Submit.
that. They have to get to that point where like there's no ships, right? There's like a
Yes.
fleet, and then that's it.
Yes.
Which okay, whatever. But
Maybe Thrawn's gonna wipe out 90% of the New Republic fleet.
well,
With the Dark Force, the Katana
the
fleet.
Katana fleet. Yeah, that's what he's. Yeah, well, whatever.
We'll get there. Maybe,
Um,
maybe not.
So, again, that goes back to the whole thing I've said before. Like they painted themselves into a corner. They
Yes.
certain things have to happen. So it's like whatever. I get it. Star
Right.
Destroyers they're a symbol of the Empire and stuff. So.
Yeah. But I
I
like that
guess.
they reference. We see a lot of what's going on in Corellia. It was just cool to see some of that. And again, it appeased that part of me that likes the technical side of Star
Mhm.
Wars. Just seeing a shipyard. And,
Oh, and
I-
having like Imperial holdouts,
yeah,
that are working secretly.
yeah, that was pretty cool. So what do you think's going on? Okay, so we got these new characters. We've got Balin and Shin, who are seeming to be a master and
carrying
apprentice.
the series for me. Like,
Yeah,
and it's even if they weren't in it, it's a pretty decent series. But
Yeah,
like Ray Stevenson and what's her face who plays Shin, she's like
I don't remember her
she's-
name. I saw it once. But
She's Ukrainian, I believe. Ivana
yeah,
Sakno. I think is her name.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I guess they're interesting because presumably Balin left either. It's not clear if he left before or after Order 66, or he just survived or whatever,
It, it
whatever.
is, you know, Hu Yang mentioned he hadn't seen that lightsaber. He knew it was Balin's based on the way it was designed, but he said he hadn't seen that. I think he said since the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So it could have been during the Clone Wars or maybe shortly after. But yeah,
It would be interesting, and I'm really excited to find out more about his backstory and Shin,
yeah,
because it's interesting.
yes,
He left the Jedi Order, but like, and Shin is his Padawan, his apprentice, but she has the Padawan braid. You know what I mean?
hmm
So there's like, there's still like sort of an adherence to
yeah.
Jedi tradition.
It's kind of nebulous as to where their intentions lie because you know he's obviously in conflict with Ahsoka and Sabine, and Shin and Sabine had this duel in the second episode or the end of the first, and then of course we think, oh, Sabine is dead. Oh my God. Oh no, she was just stabbed. She's
Listen,
alive.
if there's any, if there's anything I've learned watching Disney Star Wars is only
Only a chop
Qui-Gon
will
Jinn.
kill.
Only Qui-Gon Jinn dies from a lightsaber in the gut.
Yeah, yeah, like hit Qui-Gon perfectly in whatever like
Well, I think the
organ.
spine. Either it's that it severed the spinal cord,
Right.
or my head canon is that everyone else has a different physiology. Like Mandalorians don't have any
Mm.
organs, like right there, and
Mando, no organs. Yeah.
the Inquisitor, he didn't. Obviously, he's alien. He's a whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
What's that race?
It starts with a P. I want to say Palawick. No, maybe no, not Palawick.
No, it's not
It's uh
whatever. That guy.
Powan.
Powan, that's right.
That's it.
He doesn't have any organs there, so only Qui-Gon.
And then, yeah, because then there was Riva, who was also
Riva,
stabbed in the gut by Vader.
apparently she is not human either. She's some other close to human.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people might think anyway. But yeah, Disney. That's all I gotta say, Disney. So you think Sabine, and it's like I knew they weren't gonna kill her. I'm like, so to me, it was kind of like a big fake out. Like, oh come on,
Right.
first episode, Jesus. So and then of course Bacta and all that. Yeah, she's fine.
Uh-huh.
Not his but a scratch by the next episode. But anyway, so it's interesting also that Sabine doesn't have the Force and she's training or has trained to be a Jedi. And
Well,
there's this whole thing.
is it that was an interesting thing, but I can't quite tell if it's that she doesn't have the Force or she doesn't have that
I think everyone has
aptitude.
the Force. I think it's what Ahsoka said. Everyone has the Force. Some people are just more naturally talented and
Well,
can tap into it better and easier.
Right. There was the old theories and way of thinking that like everyone had the Force and it was just a matter of training, and then that was all like salt.
I think
like,
some people need lots and lots of specific training
well,
to even get to like a level 1, and Sabine might just be one of those people.
okay.
She's an every woman.
Okay, so there was that old theory, and then everything got firmed up with midi-chlorians, which I've noticed that they kind of, man, they really like
Do
pussyfoot
not
around.
want to.
They do everything but mention midi-chlorians, and it's
And it's
always
so
characters
silly.
that should know about midi-chlorians. Because
I know, and it's so silly because have we not gotten over 1999 yet? Think about all the critical people that were like, midi chlorians, Jar Jar, back at the turn of the millennium. That was 24 years ago. Can we move on? No one cares about how controversial midi chlorians are.
Well,
It's so long ago.
they don't need to be, because I still think that they could, and especially now, they could have a couple of throwaway lines about how there were differing views on midi-chlorians, on whether or not the
They
midi-chlorians.
just need to recontextualize midichlorians. Just give a new spin on it
That's what I
that
mean.
allows you to look at it in a different
Well,
way.
that's what I
That's
mean.
it.
Like they could have
Yeah.
a few throwaway lines saying that there were differing opinions on whether or not the midi-chlorians.
It's going to be
Oh,
so meta. There was
I know,
differing opinions on the forums back in
right?
1999.
Whether
The
they
Jedi Council
allowed you to
forums.
talk to the Force or communicate with the Force or tap into the Force or whatever,
Yeah.
or that they were just a marker, and it wasn't that the amount of midichlorians dictated
Yeah.
your
Ability.
power, your ability in the Force. It was more a indicator, the
Indicator.
amount
Right.
versus the
Right.
cause.
Right.
Um,
It's so funny. We
but
thought
they don't.
before
They just pussyfoot around the
they
issue.
pussyfoot around it, and I think part of that is the fact that it was kind of George's baby in that regard with those.
Yeah.
But
And obviously, Filoni would adhere to. He wouldn't want to step on George's toes.
that's true. But I think Filoni, if anyone's gonna take a George thing and be okay with it, it would be Filoni. And who knows, with the end of episode 4 being the way it is, where Ahsoka is now, in possibly the world between worlds. I mean, again, we're jumping ahead here.
Well, it
not
is.
that we need to not that we need to relay the entire plot. No one cares. But Balin and Ahsoka had this duel on
No.
CTOS.
Go back to Sabine. I wasn't done.
Okay.
There's also the back in Legends, like Corran Horn wasn't so good at the physical, like moving objects and stuff, the telekinesis part of the
Yes.
Force. He was more what was it? It was like energy absorption or whatever.
Yeah, there was other things he was good at.
Right. So like it could be that with Sabine, where it wasn't necessarily her ability with the Force. It was just she doesn't have that type of like
Yeah,
aptitude.
that's true.
She
That's
has
true.
she has other aptitudes with the Force.
Yeah, it's like
And that's a
some of
Legends
these
thing.
games.
That's not a
It's
that's that yeah, that
Right.
was always a Legends thing, not a
It's almost like
mainline
Jedi Knight
thing.
when you play the game. Are you going to put it in Mind Trick? Are you going to put your little energy thing in
Right,
Force Lightning? Are you
exactly.
going to put it in this or that?
Exactly.
So, yeah, in a certain way. I think you're right. I think that is a big part of it. I think by the end of this, we are going to see Sabine tap in somehow, probably.
With the dark side.
Or maybe they'll go the original Last Jedi route, like they teased with Rey, where it's almost like, instead you're like you're nobody, and just that's it with Sabine. Like she doesn't have the Force. Like that'll be her thing. You can still be a Jedi. You can still do great things. You could be awesome, but you don't have the Force. But I don't think they're going to do that.
There'll be
They're gonna go the
there'll be
safe route.
tension. There'll be tension between Sabine and Ahsoka, and
Mhm.
Ahsoka will in a derogatory way just call her a dirty Mando, right? And then that'll be the rift. Like Force having dirty Mando.
It's like a dirty Sanchez, dirty Mando.
It's like a derogatory. Can you imagine that? It was actually a derogatory term in Star Wars. Hey, Mando.
Dirty Mando. I know, right? And see, we didn't know because Mando himself he just takes it. He turns
Yeah.
it into a positive.
Yeah. It's like those words that people aren't allowed to say. Some people are allowed to say them, but other people aren't.
Some people can't. Mandalorians can say them, and they could take them or leave them however they wish.
It's so. Yeah.
If
Anyway,
only.
so
So what's going on with Marok? Also, not to jump to that, but
well,
so we got Marok, we got Shin, we got Balin. Who's Marok? I had my theory, which is now shot and gone.
well, I didn't really have any theories because I'm usually very I usually don't have a lot of faith in a lot of writers to do anything like really surprising these days.
Yeah, I know. It's sad.
So I definitely wasn't expecting him to be full of green hot air, and that's basically it. And just
That was interesting. That was like a Dathomirian witch kind of thing.
yeah,
He was almost like a puppet, or you know what? It's like when I don't know if you got to that part of Clone Wars yet, where there's a lot of Dathomir stuff, but
I'm just getting to it now where I stopped.
okay, there's they can like raise the dead, like literal dead bodies that they keep in suspended animation, and they use them like zombies. And whenever they would kill one, this weird green shit would fly out, almost
Oh
like a
well, that's
puppeteering spirit, like something else was controlling it, and then it leaves the body in a way.
that must be what it is. Because we were talking before the podcast, and I told you I was wondering when I saw that I was like, oh, is this is something that I should know? Like
Good
this
know,
is a
right?
reference to something that I just haven't consumed yet, or either in
Yeah,
Disney, Star Wars, or in Legends or something. It's a reference to that,
right.
and then you mentioning that one, it's like, well, that's pretty much what it is. Especially since we know that Morgan is a
There's a
Dathomirian
Night Sister
witch. Yeah,
now,
she's a
or
Night Sister.
which is I like that twist because also this is the first time we've heard that referenced in a live action series. It's only been the province of novels and video games in new canon
Well, it also makes more
or Clone
sense.
Wars.
It also
But
makes more sense now that she could stand toe to toe with Ahsoka, because I
yeah,
always get pissed when
yep,
non Jedi, non Force users are like standing toe to toe with Force
yep,
users in hand to
yep,
hand combat and stuff. It's like, come on,
absolutely,
like
right,
give me a break.
very true.
Um,
So, and I really like her character. She's not like overly complex or anything yet. It's very simple, but she does a good job of conveying the menace and the I don't know
fanaticism.
yeah, the fanaticism of a night sister and
It's
everything.
interesting. She's like very fanatical about Thrawn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then like
Um,
he's calling to me, and we might have heard something. You know, I think you hear the word Morgan or something like that in the audio of that before she puts down the ball on the
the
you know
thing,
the the
the
hinge. They
ball on
called
the
it
thing.
they actually called it the hinge this last episode, which I was like, oh cool, okay. They I guess that is a reference to a stone circle. It is a hinge, but that was pretty cool. But yeah,
Wait,
you hear
are you saying hinge or henge, like Stonehenge?
like Stonehenge.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
they
sense.
did use that word somewhere in there, and I believe in episode 4.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's some connection between Thrawn and her. Obviously, I guess we'll learn more in the days ahead. Oh, I gotta mention, I mentioned it off the podcast, but reflex point. So that was the term used, I believe, when Morgan, or was it Balin? Somebody said that was I guess the where Cetos is pointing out to the other galaxy.
yeah. I think Balin mentions it when he's letting Morgan know
Right. That
about
is
it.
absolutely it. Has to be a Robotech reference. And Dave Filoni loves Robotech. He said it was a big influence on him. I've only ever heard that term in Robotech. So
Well,
you
listen,
heard it here,
if
folks, for our 5 listeners.
if there's any guarantees in Star Wars now with Filoni writing, you will get Robotech references
Oh yeah.
and Wolf references.
Wolf references, absolutely. Those are the
Because
two things.
Balin Skull and Shin Hadi are both references to wolves in
Right.
Norse mythology. Which
That's right.
when I read about that, I was wondering if that would inform about their characters at all.
Mhm.
But so
Mhm.
far, I'm not totally sure. It's still kind of um, unknown what Balin's motivations are. He's sort of vague about it when he's
What
talking
if?
to Ahsoka and Sabine about, you know,
Yes.
letting him
That's
do
why
what
I'm
he needs
still
to do.
unsure if I don't really consider him fully evil. He's kind of this gray area, and Shin also. There's something about them,
Well,
but
it's
yeah,
they are something that we saw a lot in Legends, which were just dark Jedi. They're not Sith.
right,
You
right,
know, they're
right.
just, you know, Jedi with their own motivations and
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily adhering to some
Which
uh
90% of the time, those motivations were capture the solo children and take over Coruscant.
right, yeah. I was always so yeah, it's again that's Balin and Shin are like really doing the heavy lifting, which
Oh, I was gonna say with the wolf thing with their names. You said the Norse mythology and all that.
yeah.
I was gonna say, what if maybe they tie into Lothal? Remember the wolves on Lothal that are like, what are
Yeah,
these things? Are they the Force? Are they there? Are they not there? I wonder
they're
if that ties
creatures
into
on
them
Filoni's
somehow.
shirt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it makes me wonder. Maybe there is. You never know. Some weird connection with that, and probably not. That'd
Well,
be too
one
deep.
I can't
But
remember which one's which. Skull and Haiti. One chases the moon and one chases the sun.
oh, okay,
That's all I
all
know
right.
about it.
Oh,
So
and then there was that kind of iconography in the portal of the world between worlds in Rebels, where there was the artwork of the wolves on the wall,
hmm
and Ezra went into it, and the wolves were going in a circular pattern, and I can't remember if there was suns or moons there, but it'd be interesting to look at that again and see if
Yeah,
there
I'll
was
have to load
any
that up.
clues. But this is all interesting speculation. I mean, who knows where the series is going to go? It's reached the point now where exciting things are happening, like I said. So it's fun. I'm really digging it so far. It's getting better and better.
Yeah, especially with this last episode,
Oh,
it's
the lightsaber duel, dude.
I think that it's the best duel so far. Like I
It
have
it
no
reminded me of, like, in the prequels, one of the most psychological duels was Anakin versus Dooku in Attack of the Clones. The one with Balin and Ahsoka reminded me of that, but almost amped up, like on steroids, like
yeah,
a version of that.
and since you mentioned that, one of the things I noticed was Ahsoka's stance is sort of that samurai holding the sword above her
Yeah,
head, the lightsaber above her head, and Anakin
right, right.
and Dooku square off like that. Um, at
And
least
you
at least
never
once in
know.
Attack of the Clones.
This could be, again, the training lineage, because it goes Dooku, Qui Gon, Obi Wan, Anakin,
Right, right.
Ahsoka.
Yeah,
So that could be purely intentional. Like
yeah.
Filoni, that's the kind of thing he knows those details.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Um, I'm not entirely sure. Speaking of the duel, um, I watched it with headphones on, so I kind of heard slash felt it, but there was one part, and I don't think it happened really in any other duel in any other Star Wars movie or show, but there was a part where Balin like overpowers Ahsoka when they've locked sabers, and
Yeah.
he pushes her down or whatever. But I think he's using the Force to do that. Like he's
Is that
actually
when he knocked her off the
no, no,
cliff?
no. It's they're still in the middle of the platform, and they sort
Okay.
of lock sabers, and
Yeah.
he looks all pissed, and he just like forces her saber down, and like Ray Stevenson's a big dude. He's like
Right.
6'3" or whatever, so he's it's kind of cool because he's like really imposing, sort of like Dooku, because
Like
Christopher
I
Lee
was
was really
saying,
tall, but
away from recording beforehand, like, we've never seen a really big buff guy use a lightsaber in live action Star Wars. Like a tall
that is
beast of a
that
dude.
is that is so disrespectful to the late great David Prowse is Darth Vader. I can't believe he is rolling in his
Yeah.
grave. You saying that, considering he was a big bodybuilder.
Well, maybe if he
But
wasn't a half broken cybernetic man, it would have
yeah,
been a little more
no,
impressive.
I know what you're saying. Like he was he was kind of well more machine than man. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Whereas Balin's like just a dude. Like
He's a
he's
dude. That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
It has a different presence when you see the guy's face, and he's tall and he's buff and he's got a lightsaber. There's something different about it.
I was so worried that he was gonna die in that duel. Like
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
gonna die, and then Shin would be, take over that spot or whatever,
Right.
for the next 4 episodes or whatever.
Right.
So it's really nice because it's more, there's more of a threat, right? Like because a lot of times villains these days are not
Yeah.
really
Let's
that
blow up the
threatening,
Star Killer at the beginning of the new movie.
right?
It's the same kind of thing. It's like, and Lucas fell into this too. He kills Darth Maul right away. At the time. And he
Or
did it.
even
He did.
Kylo. Kylo's like a edge lord, trying to trying to
I
impress
know.
some weird old dude.
Right,
You know?
right. And Lucas kind of did it again with Boba Fett, even though he didn't kill him right away. But like the second movie, everyone likes him, and then it's like he has to kill him.
Yeah.
But it's like, let's have some villains stick around a while. Like this may be a new concept for Star Wars to a certain degree, but like it just makes it more interesting. I want to. There's so much more threat you can get out of somebody when there's a back and forth, across either a series or multiple series.
Right.
So
And
I
well, that's
hope. I mean, well, obviously Ray Stevenson is gone now, rest in peace. But I hope that there's some kind of satisfying arc to what he was able to give to this
yeah.
series.
Because I am really interested in his backstory, in Balin's backstory, and it's like
Yeah.
it's such a bummer. Like obviously, because we talked about it before. Ray Stevenson was great. He was in a lot of great stuff.
Hmm.
Rome and
A lot of things I got to
Punisher.
see.
Yeah, he was great in Rome as
Yeah.
Titus Pullo.
Hmm.
But him and that character Balin is so good, and I wish that Ray was still around so that we could get more. Even though probably the character doesn't survive past this series, but
Right.
like you say,
But
having
novels
having
and comics.
right, exactly. But like you say, having a threat that spans multiple series and stuff is nice. It's
Hmm.
satisfying, and it's exciting to know that Thrawn is going to do that, right? Like,
Yeah, he'll probably be around. They'll probably milk him as long as they can, and I hope that's gonna be kind of our, end game, so to speak, kind of like what Marvel did, a big build up across, multiple things. Hopefully Thrawn sticks around for this next arc of whatever's,
I
stories we're
hope
gonna
so,
get.
man. If they could milk him, you know what would be great if they milked him and they forgot, like they milked him so hard and so long. It sounds really bad. It sounds
Yes,
really
let's
dirty.
thank God there's no one walking in right now. Jeez,
They,
milked Thrawn so long and so
so
hard.
hard that they
Yeah,
just forgot that the sequels even
they're.
existed, and and they just oops, we just went over the
Oh wait, it's
sequels.
30 years
30
after
years.
Return of the
Oh
Jedi.
well,
Oops.
well we
Oh
got Thrawn
damn.
now, so
Thrawn's like, luckily he's a near human. He's a chiss. He's not aging, hopefully, like a human, but he's all decrepit and everything.
well,
Like
if he gets enough milking, he's probably doing pretty good, low stress.
nice and healthy. Get some
Um,
Vornsker milk in him.
uh,
Get some good salamari
I haven't.
salamiri milk.
Uh, okay. Norgie milk. I haven't looked, which I should, but I haven't looked on forums to see if anyone's getting excited about the
I'm getting excited.
the about Norgie milk.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
the prospect of the World Between Worlds resetting the timeline, because there was all those
I know they,
theories
they
and
they
stuff.
can't get over it. They can't get over it, and especially where you keep going to Midnight's Edge or Saltier Than Crate. I swear to God, you guys are jacking off over this theory for like 5 years
I am
now.
too,
It's
though.
like
I
get
want
over
it to be
it. Get
true.
over it.
I want it to happen.
Well, look, what I want to be true is that Legends and new canon can coexist. But sure, I am open to the idea of the sequels being a portal to another universe. I don't mind that. Actually, it would just be better because then we can just move forward and just do whatever you want with that time
I
period.
I agree, and this is coming from somebody that I always hated when there was a little too much sci-fi versus fantasy in Star Wars. And when I say
Yeah.
sci-fi, I mean like Star
Star Trek.
Trek, time
Yeah.
travel, multiple
Yes.
dimensions, multiverse, all that stuff. And of course,
Right.
multiverse is
Right.
like super hot right now. But
Yeah.
but you know what? At this point, I'd take it. It can't be any worse than what's going on right now. But
Yeah. I think it'd be
one
okay.
one interesting theory that I saw. Well, okay. Is there anything else that you noticed in these first 4 episodes that you wanted to mention? Um,
I don't think
one
so.
thing. One thing we didn't talk about is apparently Syndulla doesn't have any other outfits.
Oh, dude. Okay, I've gotten used to her playing the character now. It's kind of started to settle with me
Yeah.
and everything. And also just the fact that visualizing Ewan sitting around with his wife watching this probably on TV once a week. That
Do you
just
think?
fills me
Wait.
with joy.
Do you think he like has her come home wearing the outfit? You know, I would if I were
Oh
him.
yeah, I mean, hey, why
That's
not?
what twi'leks are made for.
Well, of course, that's why they exist in the galaxy.
Right.
They're either ugly, slave dealers like Bib Fortuna, or they're just hot dancing chicks or pilots in this case. No, I certainly hope Ewan is watching with popcorn with his wife every week. Just thinking of that, it fills me with joy. But I have gotten used to it. There's still a part of me where it's like, give her a different outfit every couple episodes. Like, stop making her wear the same bomber jacket, and everything. It's just, I don't know.
You know, the bomber jacket isn't so bad. It's the goggles and the
Yeah.
leather helmet thing.
It just, it looks
This is the
too
problem.
clean.
Yeah, this is the Yeah, I know. After however many years,
It's like someone went to the store and bought those things brand new and then said, "Put it on. You're the character. Just put it on."
yeah.
It's not weathered.
This is the problem translating stuff from cartoons or video games to live action. There's a very fine line and a balance between making it accurate to the source and also having it look real and like used in like an actual thing. But also the issue is like cartoon characters almost always wear the same thing. It's just easier that way. Donald Duck always wore like a blue sailor outfit.
Sailor outfit. Right.
So,
No, maybe in that regard, they're just keeping it simple just so that the casuals can go, "Oh, it's that character from Rebels."
right, yeah, exactly.
Even if they've not seen Rebels. But again, do that in the first episode, do it in the first one, and then change it up after that. Like we saw Luke change his outfit a few times in The Empire Strikes Back. Pilot outfit, he had his jumpsuit, he had his training fatigues with Yoda. It just, I don't know. It's just one of those little teeny tiny things. It's not a big deal. I'm not up in arms over it, but come on.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Sure. I got that. Any other things?
No, there was nothing else that really stuck out to me. That
I like everyone for the most part. The actress playing Sabine looks close enough to Sabine for me to be like, okay, I see it. It's there. No major. I don't have any problem with her acting. She does a decent job.
All the casting and everything is good. It's serviceable to good. There's no issues.
So far everything was pretty B, but that last episode bumped up to like a B plus, A minus. It just a lot of stuff. Just it got going.
I am as excited as I've ever been for any Disney Star Wars now.
Since like the day before The Force Awakens came out.
Since the end of The Force Awakens, when Luke was sitting there on the cliff, and I was like, yes, Luke Skywalker is back. This is going to be great.
Directed by J.J. Abrams.
This is going to be great. How could anything go wrong from this point forward?
Yeah.
So hopefully it we're not about to fall off the cliff again, but like Ahsoka
like
did.
Ahsoka. World Between Worlds, and Anakin is there. And as I noticed right when it ended, and I saw it the first time, but I was reacquainted when I rewatched it tonight. It ends on Vader's theme, very ominously on Vader's theme, not the Force theme, not the positive uplifting Star Wars theme. Like,
I noticed that. It's probably going to be. My guess is that they'll kind of address.
They'll talk about their differences.
Yeah, they'll talk about the last
Vader
time they saw each other when he was Vader.
Also, do you think Hayden was de-aged or was that CG or what? Because I looked closer. It looks like they did de-age him. They didn't just slap young person makeup on 42-year-old.
Yeah, no, they de-aged him, and I can't tell if it's CG hair or a wig, but it's
right.
That was the problem.
Looking. Yeah,
the hair was the problem.
Yeah, but I think it looks pretty good. I need to see more because obviously it's just a quick shot. But
it's fine.
I need to see more. Even the the way he looked with the makeup in Obi-Wan in the flashback, it wasn't that bad.
If there's one thing I've noticed, I have seen people bitch about the Harrison Ford de-aging in Dial of Destiny,
And that's like the greatest de-aging that's ever been done in Hollywood ever.
That was top notch. Like they're within like 95%. They're almost there.
Dude,
So
I know. It was like 98.9%.
people are going to complain no matter what. So it's like it's fine. It's fine.
They are. And you know, that's something that got pointed out on another thing I was watching the other day. Star Wars is so big. It's such a focal point for people and culture. It's gonna get hate no matter what. I mean, look at Andor. Look at how good Andor is overall. Even though, yeah, there's little things you can nitpick, but like, look at how overall how good it is. And then still, there's still that like 10% of people that are like, this series is garbage. It's shit, and I'm not watching more than one episode. It's like, what planet am I living on?
A planet with no aliens.
Yeah, I know, right? It's just, I don't know, man. People, look, it's just Star Wars.
Whatever.
It's just Star Wars.
What? So, do you have any predictions for the next 4 episodes?
I don't really. I mean, we're clearly going to see Thrawn come into the picture, and he's either going to leave that galaxy or some conflict is going to happen with him. But I really don't know what's going to happen at this point.
I don't have any predictions.
Balin will die. Balin will die.
My predictions. This is my prediction. Balin will die. Shin will continue with Thrawn and stuff. They're going to spend some time looking for Thrawn. The New Republic's going to spend some time
again once they get there. Where is he? It's a big galaxy. It's still going to search a galaxy.
Well, not that big, but the New Republic's going to have to figure out how to get there or prepare for him coming here or whatever. And that's pretty much it. I hope Paleon shows up.
More Paleon.
That's a hope. That's not a prediction.
Zeb, who we saw briefly in season 3 of The Mandalorian at that pilot's lounge.
Yes.
Where Carson was. Everyone's been saying, like, we need the Rebels crew together at some point. So it's very likely we'll see Zeb come in.
You know what? I didn't mention it, but now that you mentioned the Rebels crew, Chopper bothers me. I don't think he does not translate. They did too literal a translation of that.
He's
droid.
The same. He's the same.
It's too literal a translation from the cartoon to.
It was so goofy when he was throwing the transmitter on the ship, and he's like doing his little. He's doing his little arm thing where he's like harumphing.
Right.
Like almost like putting his hands on his hips.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
that's what. But that is Chopper. That is. What
I know.
It does, so.
But it's too. It's like whatever.
It is literal. I love it. I love Chopper. It's like a grumpy old cat.
Anyway,
he is.
Yeah.
He is who he
anyway,
is.
I don't. It's not a prediction. I just read it as a theory that it's possible. I don't subscribe to this. I just thought it was an interesting theory. I don't even necessarily want it to happen, but somebody mentioned that it's possible that Disney is pulling a sleight of hand on us, where this whole Thrawn and everything is just a vehicle to get the what are they called? It's the Disney version of the Yuzin Vong. The Christs? It's some alien race in the unknown regions.
There was I think there were the Twi'leks, which were, I think that was the Dark Nest trilogy after the New Jedi Order. I think that's what that dealt with. They were like insectoid creatures, and I think they were from the unknown regions, or something like that. It could be.
It's the I think it's the Grists.
Grists. I've heard of that. See, I that's stories I haven't read. I've heard of it.
Yeah, I've only heard of it. It's basically, because remember in Legends, there was allusions to the fact that Palpatine and Thrawn were preparing for the Yuzin Vong.
Yes. Yeah. But it turns out it wasn't. It was the Grists, maybe.
Well, Grists are a Disney canon thing, so they're like the
This ties into the High Republic, I think. I think that this is where that comes from. I'm pretty sure.
well, the Wook mentions it as being they were mentioned in the Thrawn books.
Oh,
So
the Ascendancy trilogy.
yeah, the new Thrawn books.
Okay.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
so they're like the whatever analog to the Yuuzhan
To the
Vong.
Yuuzhan Vong.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
well, so what the theory was that it's a sleight of hand. This whole thing is just a vehicle to set up the threat that's going to be in the
Future
forthcoming,
series.
for sure coming out Ray movie.
That'd be a little bit of a long game there. You're
Yeah, I
talking
know.
about you're talking about a 5 to 7 year plan when they can't even get Rogue Squadron
No,
off
I
the
know.
ground after a few years.
I know. Like I
You're
said,
asking, look, Disney pulling a sleight of hand. How about just pulling a hand? That would be great.
I know, right? And plus, it's
I
like,
think,
well, plus
yeah.
the Ray movie is supposedly just a movie. It's like not even like a
Yeah.
series. So
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to it. I just thought it was a funny theory.
No, but it is actually intriguing. I like, but that's what I like about Star Wars. We can have these crazy off the wall theories about all kinds of shit because you never know. Like, did we when we went into the Last Jedi? Did we know Snoke was going to get cut in half by Kylo Ren? Like we didn't know that. It was just you never know. It could be.
Did I know DJ was going to be the most interesting character that just fucked off and we never heard or saw anything again?
Yeah. No.
Did I know? Did I know that my hope that the code breaker was going to be Lando, and he wasn't Lando,
and he wasn't.
That whole fucking movie was just one big subversion.
Lando.
Subversion of my.
Here we go again.
Whatever. Okay,
Here
we don't need to.
We go
we
again.
Sorry. We have invoked the Last Jedi.
It happens. It's the ghost that just keeps giving.
Yeah. Anyway,
but
I just thought it was a funny theory and an interesting theory because it does tie into Thrawn and his motivations. And
well, I think they're building the structure and the skeleton of this threat that's going to continue in the next few live action series at least.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Rey movie, but I think the next few series are being structurally, built. So, kind of like they had to figure out Galaxy's Edge stuff way ahead. It's kind of like that. And
it definitely is. It definitely is more interesting when a villain is not just completely black, black and white.
Wait, do you mean literally black? Like Disney likes to make them? Or no, that's the heroes, sorry.
Right.
That's the heroes. The villains are white these days. I forgot.
Oh, fucking white male. Like Balin. Balin's a fucking white male.
I just realized that. It just dawned on me.
Speaking of which,
well, at least Thrawn is blue.
Before played by a white male. I tried when the series came out, I was already kind of growing a beard. My beard's very white.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, maybe I can grow a beard like Ray Stevenson as Balin. And I really tried.
That's a big if because he has a badass beard.
I know, right? I shaped it. I trimmed it and shaped it and stuff, let it grow out some more. And then I was just like, this. I watched the latest episode. I was like, this looks like shit. I just shaved it off.
Just shaved it off.
It was nowhere near as good as Ray's
You're going to
beard.
end up getting hired as a first order officer at Galaxy's Edge
I know.
if you keep that up.
Well, maybe when I'm in 10 or 15 years, when I'm as old as Ray was,
right?
When he filmed this series, maybe I'll be able to grow a beard. Every year it gets a little better. It also gets a little whiter, but one day I'll be able to grow a beard.
It's either going to be Balin or it's going to be Cobb Vanth on Tatooine.
Yeah, one or the other.
Most Pelgo.
One or the other.
Yeah. Looking all lanky in Boba's armor when he came into the cantina.
Anyway, it is more interesting when a villain is gray, and that's what made Thrawn interesting, especially when Zahn sort of retconned his motivations and the Yuuzhan Vong and all that stuff, and then
right.
Even Balin is we're still not quite sure what he's after.
He might redeem himself and then die. I think he's gonna die regardless, but
Maybe.
maybe he'll redeem himself in some way or have some thought.
And in these series, they're already showing not just that the Empire, there are people with good motivations or noble motivations in the Empire, like Pershing, Dr. Pershing,
Yeah.
but they're showing people in the Republic doing dark things, like what they did to Pershing when they
mind scrambling
and mind flayed him.
So all the bureaucracy too.
Exactly. The ineffectual bureaucracy and stuff, that was always a great thing in Legends.
Yep.
With
absolutely
Leia going up against Borskfelia and all that stuff. But,
right. Oh, we're getting our Thrawn trilogy soft reboot. That's what it is.
I know. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I hope it gets really messy between the Thrawn's empire being gray and the Republic not being as good as everyone thinks they are.
Right.
We'll see how it goes.
Right.
I hope we get that. I'm excited too.
Few more days for the next one. So yeah, when we next record, we'll review the last half of Ahsoka. Basically, that's probably how it'll go down.
Probably, yes.
So, yeah. Any other things about the first four you want to mention?
Oh, well, I think it's been mentioned. I mean, I know other people have mentioned it, but it is kind of funny, the elephant in the room, when the threat of Thrawn, Jedi from pre-Order 66 showing up and killing, Republic Republic officers, taking over, wrecking that ship and everything, and they call Ahsoka. They don't call the two existing Jedi.
I literally was like, I thought the next word out of his mouth was Luke. Or her mouth, whoever said it, and then it was like Ahsoka. What? You mean Commander Luke Skywalker?
Yeah, Leia.
Okay,
they're both Jedi, especially at that point. I mean, Rise of Skywalker went out of its way to show that Luke was training Leia as a Jedi. So it's just funny. I mean, I get it, and there's still 4 episodes. It's possible and probable that Luke at least shows up in some fashion. So
we need, and maybe this ties into the Anakin appearance where Ahsoka is between worlds right now. Maybe we're gonna get some talk about Luke, if nothing else.
I just wish that sometimes there was some, maybe even just like a vague explanation for certain things, like, why
just throwaway lines.
Yeah, like just why
little throwaway lines that explain.
They did this in Legends in the books with
he's off in this system exploring such and such right now.
Well, just like the elephant in the room of like, I don't know, that's a whole other can of worms with like Force ghosts and how often you can talk to them and what are they doing all the time and all this stuff. So
and who can talk to them?
Right, and so I don't want to get into that, but
right. Big can.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Luke might still show up. It would be funny if they got they didn't like try to de-age Harrison or anything. If they had Han show up, they just got Alden.
Get Alden and just age him.
Yeah, just give him some gray on his temples.
Right.
They already he is Han. I mean, I'd be fine with that.
I'd be okay with it.
I'd be fine if they recast. I mean, Hamill still wants to do stuff, so it's fine if they like use his appearance and
I say let everybody. Let everybody do it that is still around and wants to do it, and if not, they just do what they can. But we'll see. We'll see if Luke shows up. It'd be funny if he doesn't. It's funny that if he doesn't, that means he did in the Book of Boba Fett for no real good reason, and it would just be ironic that he doesn't show up in the soft reboot of the Thrawn trilogy.
It's because the other thing is like he's not doing anything. He's sitting there with a bunch of droids stacking rocks, like, and his only student Grogu left. Like, the fuck is he doing?
That's why. Well, we're the only student we know of. He might.
Yeah,
it is possible he's got other things on the side.
And I don't know. I'd have to look at the timeline. But maybe he's off looking for that stupid Goonies dagger with Lando.
Dagger. No, that's later. That's,
is it later?
It's about 10 years after this era. It's like
Okay.
it's kind of uh it's after Ray is born actually because Ochi he killed her parents or whatever, or it was around. Yeah, in the flashback in the movie,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
I think he stabbed or the dad, or I can't remember. It's funny.
Whatever, who
I've seen it like
cares?
10 times. I can't remember. But anyway,
It really
he
made an
was.
impression on you.
Yeah, it really did. But no, yeah, that's like way later,
Yeah.
10 years
Okay.
after
Okay.
this, because
Whatever.
Ray is born by that point.
Whatever. We'll see. I have a feeling at least Luke will show up.
Okay, I've got a 10% feeling he will, but I hope he does. Yeah, it would just elevate things, I think, a little bit. Anyway, I think I've gotten all my thoughts. Probably things will come to me later as they do. But yeah, I think we're about ready to wrap this up. So just remember, everybody, you can check out this episode and any other past episodes on our YouTube channel. Just look for Star Wars Unfiltered. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Just look up Star Wars Unfiltered at each of those. And until the next episode, when we cover the second half of Ahsoka, may the Force be with you.
Good night.
Now, what did Yoda say when he gave Luke Skywalker his first car?
What?
May the Porsche be with you.
Oh my God.
All right. Good night, everybody.